So you're getting old like me, and you might have 1, 2, 3 kids, and you're after a new car, perfect for a family. This might just fit the bill. This might be the perfect solution for you. This is the Peugeot 5008. Now I'll be honest with you, I'm not a Peugeot fan. Design wise, I think Peugeot have actually really done well with design. I mean, it really actually does look aggressive. It fits into modern day very well. Functionality wise, it's quite a big car, and believe it or not, it's actually powered by a 1.2 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. As you can see, it looks even more aggressive with lights on, but these lights at night time, they are unreal. The weirdest thing for me was when I first got in it and I was driving it in the dark, it's got automatic high beam. So if you're driving along, and the high beam will just switch on, and then when another car comes up, it'll switch off. Now this model actually comes with Peugeot LED technology. These headlights are actually pretty amazing. It's also got anti-crash, it's got lane departure warnings, it's got blind spot warnings. It's pretty much a safe car, and like I said, the design of this is absolutely so aggressive. If you look at this angle edge here, it's just, God, it's so aggressive. Again, Peugeot LED technology. On the side at bonnet and on the upper wing, it's got these fake grills. Now a little thing to note here is this bit of plastic. I thought, what's this for? And the build quality, it's all loose. Not very good. Not very good, Peugeot. Better build quality would be nice. Now this 1.2 3-cylinder turbocharged engine produces 140 horsepower. I'm not a big fan of these style of engines because pushing a lot of horsepower in a small displacement engine, I've seen it before and it's a recipe for disaster. More on the engine later. The boot space is quite large, and especially with all the seats folded down, it pretty much resembles a Peugeot partner van. But the downside is when you do have the third row up, so you have the 7 seats, there is no boot. Now as you can see, you've got no boot space, and to be fair, people in third row have got no leg space. You've got these blinds, which I'm going to be point blank honest with you, they're annoying. They work as a blind, but they rattle when they're up. Now you think to yourself, oh, there's loads of leg room in here. There is actually loads of leg room, and this seat is at the most furthest back it can be, and I'm not tall, but I have to have it quite well at the maximum. The driver's seat is set in the most reversed setting. Now I'm not a big person, I'm not tall, I'm fat, but I'm not tall, and that's set perfect for me. If you were any taller than me, and I'm a short horse, I'm 5'10" at max with some trainers on, you're going to struggle in this car because there is no leg room at front. You can't adjust the seat any further back. Now in the back row, you think, oh, there's loads of room here. There is lots of room, and there is storage under this one. I don't know what you're going to store in there because it's not that big. I mean, you could probably store a Bible or something in there if you're into that sort of thing. Now you've got heater controls here, and you've got another storage compartment down there, but that storage compartment is for your pump, for your spare tyre, what you don't have. Now with the back, I was saying there's no leg room, and there is no leg room, but you've got these seats what move forward, so just bear with me, I'll put it forward. So if you look now, there is a bit of leg room. You think, oh look, that is humane, you know, you've got a little bit of leg room. But in that setting, then this passenger's got no leg room. So it don't really work as a 7-seater unless you've got someone with no legs. You don't want to put a newborn in back because it's cold. Now this centre seat, when you're driving, it shakes. It proper vibrates around. Like, it's funny to watch it in rear view mirror, but it does shake around. This seat shakes. Now these trays in the back are pretty pointless, because let's face it, what you're going to put on that? Look, my hand's bigger than it pretty much. You know what I mean? It's not big at all. And not only that, when you do put a bit of weight on it, it flops down. It's not even got like a cup holder bit there, you know what I mean, to at least hold a cup. Peugeot, come on, sort this out. Just a note about my reviews. I am honest. Sometimes people might go, oh, he says some things what are wrong, and you might disagree with me. But I'm not one of these reviewers who, when car companies give a car to review, they butter up all the bad bits and don't mention it. I'd rather mention it so you know what you're going to buy. If you're going to buy one of these, you know what you're going for. You know the pros and cons. So if you want to argue comments about it, but I'm just going to be brutally honest. Now let's talk about some positives, because not only am I talking negative, it's quite off-putting video, but let's talk about some positives. So the iCockpit is quite a nice display. You can configure it to whatever you want. You can have your sat nav on it, you can have your RPM, you can have your engine temperature, your oil temperature, etc, etc. So let's just start this up. You have to hold the button down to start. It's not just like a one press start. This is infotainment system. It's got Android Auto, it's got Apple CarPlay. Peugeot really did actually go to town with this design, because everything here is accessible from the gear stick pretty much. You don't have to move your hand far. So you've got your music, you've got your heat controls, you've got your satellite navigation, which can be a bit laggy. One thing I do like about Peugeots and the sat nav system, it tells you how many feet above sea level you are, which I don't know why, I find that quite fun. I mean, I live 521 feet above sea level, so if there is ever a flood, I won't have to build an ark. So then you've got your car, which is your car settings, your stop start. You can basically configure the car. You've got your phone, which I've not paired yet. You've got apps, so you can have Android Auto, Connect apps, Apple CarPlay, and then obviously your hazard button, which is all nice to get to. You can lock your doors, your heated rear windscreen, recirculate, your volume button will not turn volume up. But like I said, with this, you can just configure it. So if I go into car, vehicle settings, and I'm lost because I always forget settings, options, system settings. And the reason why I'm being a bit hesitant when I'm talking about this is because every time I've played with this, I've put the dashboard in kilometers per hour, and then I've had to do a factory reset to get it to miles per hour. Don't know why. So yeah, you can, like, instrument panel personalization, so you can have rev counter, trip computer, distraction detection, and then you can have your navigation, rev counter, temperature, trip computer, all that sort of stuff. Driving aids. Now this here I'm going to love over here, it's the size of the steering wheel. It's dinky, it's so small, but I understand why they've made it small, because if it were any bigger you wouldn't be able to see dashboard or have access to the buttons here, or it'd just make things a bit awkward. Like I said, when I first got in the vehicle it was a bit strange, but I have grown to actually quite like the steering wheel at that size. The gear stick itself is actually quite a nice design. I know many car reviewers don't go on about gear sticks, on about knobs, but it does look nice. The only thing what I wish Peugeot would stop doing is putting like leather tops on, because this is a car what's 11,000 miles. Now the keyless go system on this is actually really good. You literally walk up to the car, there's like a little thumb bit on the door handle, you press it, it unlocks. I've never had any issue, it starts every time, whereas all the cars, for instance, with keyless go, Mercedes is a good example, they don't work. This one actually works really well, and it's something, you know, you don't have to worry about. You walk up to your car, bags of shopping, press it. In fact, you can walk up to the boot and you just press a button and it'll open up. You don't have to get your keys out, and then you just hop in and drive home. Now the infotainment system on this, it's alright. It's a bit confusing to use, but it's like anything, you get something new, like a new phone or something like that, and you do struggle sometimes to use it. But it's quite functional, and it's nice that it's quite a large screen, and like I said, with the switches where they are, everything is accessible. Fuel consumption wise, Peugeot say it'll do 51 to the gallon combined. They're lying. It doesn't do it. Best I've got, and bear in mind I have not been driving it hard or anything like that, I've just been using it like an everyday car over the last 3 days. The best I've got is 34.8, and that's a mix of around town, motorway, and on A and B road and stuff like that. Liars, Peugeot! You are a liar! Now let's take this for a drive and see what it's all about. And we'll also launch it as well, we'll see what 0 to 60 it can do. Now let's see what this can do 0 to 60 wise. As you can clearly see, I'm on a 60-mile-an-hour road as well, which in UK this is a 60-mile-an-hour road. You wouldn't think that you should do 60 down here, but it is the speed limit of 60 mile an hour. So we'll see what it can do 0 to 60. Not bad for a little 1.2 turbo. It is 1400 kilos, this car. I like how mirrors move down for you when you put it in reverse automatically. Another annoying thing, and I'm just going to say this, another negative, is the reversing cameras. If you watch my short about it, why manufacturers use cheap reverse cameras when you can get decent-ish cameras off Wish, of all places. Yeah, it might not be the same size as advertised, but why do they use cheap cameras? Just put a good camera on it. I've driven a new Sprinter van recently, a 2021 Sprinter van, and the reverse cameras on them are bang on. Peugeot, come on. Driving wise, this car actually drives quite nice. It's quite a large car, but it doesn't feel like it, and with all the parking aids on it, it's got a reverse camera, which is rubbish, like I've said. But with all the parking aids, you can get it into, you know, it's very difficult to crash. This car actually drives quite nice. The turning circle is tremendous. Like, it is like a London taxi. It's easy to get the kids in and out. Now, if you're after a 7-seater and you've got like 7 kids, well, no, you won't have 7 kids, because then you need an 8 or a 9-seater. If you're a single parent, that is. But if you're after a 7-seater where you're going to use the seats constantly, don't buy a car like this. Don't buy, whether it be a Peugeot, whether it be anything, because your third-class citizen kids in the back are not going to appreciate it. It'd be cold in there compared to up front in winter. There's no heating controls back there. Don't buy one. Buy something like a Vivaro or a Transit style minibus, you know, with 7 seats in. That way your kids will love you because they've got leg room, and yeah, they're not all cramped in. It'll make your life easier as well, because you've got to get them kids in the back, and it will make your life easier. Another thing to note with this car is if you're tall and you're a driver, if you're 6 foot, your knees are going to be up to your shoulders basically, because I'm not that tall. This seat is all the way back, and this is my driving position. So anyone taller than me, you'd struggle. You really would struggle. It's like they've put the 7 seats in as an afterthought as well. Let's just say, oh, we're just nipping to coast, and niece and nephews want to come, and you know, you've got 2 kids yourself, niece and nephew wants to come, and you go, oh yeah, we can waz them back, you know what I mean, or whatever, you can fit them in, but you won't have any boot space. It's not a bad car to drive. Handling wise, it's quite pinpoint on steering. There's very little body roll, if none. It's quite precise on steering, and like I said, the turning circle is like a London taxi. Acceleration wise, it's not bad for a little 1.2, and when you consider the mass it's moving, then it's not bad at all, really. Now, miles per gallon wise, it's not that great, not gonna lie. Another thing is price. They're not cheap. They're like 30 grand, these things. I mean, it has got lots of technology, but you're spending like 30 grand on a car, I'd want at least a better camera. engine wise, I'll explain to you why I don't like this style of engines. Is because, yeah, it's a 3-cylinder 1.2 with quite a large turbo for the size of the vehicle, and it's producing 130 horsepower, which is quite a lot for a little 3-cylinder, but they don't wear that well. I mean, if you look at previous Peugeots and other cars like Ford Eco Booms, sorry, we call it in trade Eco Booms, Eco Tech is it, they go bang. You know, ZMZ engines at Peugeots were wearing liners on blocks. The blocks were wearing, the rings were wearing. They don't last long. It's like anything. If you thrash anything, it's not going to last that long. It's like if I went jogging 100 mile a day, I don't think it's going to be good for my health. Even though jogging is pretty good for you, they say. Not for me, I'm fat. Fat people shouldn't jog. Not built for that. Another thing what I do like about this car, it's getting dark now, and it illuminates. Everywhere illuminates. It looks kind of okay. It looks kind of nice. So overall, I'd rate the Peugeot quite good. It does have its flaws, which I've pointed out, and I've been brutally honest in this review. If you are after a 7-seater, I probably wouldn't recommend this car. It's alright as an occasional 7-seater, but to live with it every day, it'd start to get annoying. I'd definitely give it a solid 7 out of 10. I mean, looks look really well, and it drives really nice. I'm just not a big fan of them little engines. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and check back for more videos later.